Hello dear students, very good evening to all of you. Welcome to CUET concept. जैसा कि आप सभी जानते हैं एमए इंग्लिश लिटरेचर का एग्जाम है कल, और जो हमारा सफ़र है, ये जो हमारी जर्नी है, वो आप सभी का जो टेस्ट होगा वो कल डिसाइड करेगा कि आपने कितना मेहनत किया है, कितना आप डेडिकेटेड हो अपने एग्जाम को लेकर एंड एवरीथिंग. आई होप आप लोग बहुत काम फील कर रहे होंगे. आई नो कि एग्जाम के पहले नर्वसनेस फील होता है, डर लगता है कैसे क्वेश्चंस आएंगे एग्जाम में, बट कीप काम, हैव पेशेंस और कल एग्जाम में बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म करोगे. आई नो बिकॉज आई बिलीव इन यू गाइज. तो आज का हमारा सेशन है मोस्ट प्रोबेबली 2024 एमए इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के लिए लास्ट सेशन है, जो आपके एग्जाम के ठीक पहले है. तो यहाँ आज के सेशन में हम लोग मोस्ट एक्सपेक्टेड क्वेश्चंस, जैसे कि आप जानते हैं आपके सिलेबस में जो भी मेंशन्ड है, ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर, इंडियन इंग्लिश लिटरेचर, लिटरेरी थियरी, लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म एंड ऑल contemporary awards, events and all those prizes, also translation studies, comparative literature. तो इस सेशन में मैंने कोशिश किया है कि आपके हर एक पोर्शन से, हर एक टॉपिक से जो भी मेंशन्ड है आपके सिलेबस में, मैं हर एक टॉपिक को टच करूं, एक एक क्वेश्चन मैं पूछूं, राइट. तो आज का सेशन आपके लिए बहुत बहुत फ्रूटफुल होगा आपके एग्जाम के लिए. आज के टाइम में, आज के सेशन से बहुत सारे रिविजन्स होंगे, आपको बहुत सारी चीजें आपको याद आएंगी, व्हाट आई हैव टॉट इन पेड बैच. सो लेट्स बिगिन द सेशन टुडे. एज यू नो कि 11th ऑफ मार्च से CUET PG का एग्जाम स्टार्ट हो चुका है, और कल द मोस्ट एक्सपेक्टेड आपका जो एग्जाम होगा वो इंग्लिश लिटरेचर का होगा. So here the first question on your screen is from Renassa. Renassa is one of the most glorious period of English literature student, you know, and in Renassa period the most glorious period, that is of Elizabethan age, is there, in which you have studied so many authors like William Shakespeare and the authors who are associated from university with, like Christopher Marlowe, who has produced the work like Jew of Malta, Christopher, like Dr. Faustus, and John Lilly also is there. Ben Jonson, a very important dramatist of the age, who is popularly known for the producing the sense of humor, right? So the first question on your screen is from Renassa era, and the question is, which of the following best encapsulates the central question of Renassa era in English literature? आपके ऑप्शंस आज थोड़े से आपको कंफ्यूजिंग लगेंगे, बट स्टूडेंट आपके कल एग्जाम में बहुत टफ क्वेश्चंस आपसे नहीं पूछा जाएगा. बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स के माइंड में ये बातें चल रही होंगी कि आपके एग्जाम में बहुत टफ क्वेश्चंस आएगा. ऐसा नहीं है. जो NTA CUET PG का लेवल है वो आपसे इजी टू मॉडरेट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगे, बशर्ते आपने जितना भी पढ़ा है अभी तक, आपके माइंड में सारे कॉन्सेप्ट, सारे थियरीज, सारे क्रिटिकल ऑथर्स, उनके मेजर वर्क्स, एज वेल एज जितने लिटरेरी मूवमेंट्स हैं इंग्लिश लिटरेचर में, वो सारे क्लियर होने चाहिए. तभी आप कल के एग्जाम में आए हुए क्वेश्चंस को टैकल कर पाएंगे. ठीक है. तो पहला जो क्वेश्चन है, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपने देखा होगा कि हमने इंग्लिश लिटरेचर में बहुत सारे पीरियड्स को कवर किया है, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द ओल्ड इंग्लिश पीरियड लाइक एंग्लो सैक्सन पीरियड, मिडिल इंग्लिश पीरियड, एज ऑफ चॉसर, एलिजाबेथन एज, जैकोबियन एज, एज ऑफ मिल्टन, ऑल्सो age of Johnson, age of Augustan period, that is also classical age. After that you have studied romantic period, Victorian period, modern period, postmodern period. तो ये जितने भी मेजर पीरियड्स हैं इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के, ये सारे पीरियड्स का जो हिस्टोरिकल इवेंट्स है, जो लिटरेरी इवेंट्स हैं, जो लैंडस्केप्स हैं, जो भी लिटरेरी मूवमेंट्स इवॉल्व हुए हैं विद इन द टाइम पीरियड, ऑल्सो जो भी मेजर वर्क्स प्रोड्यूस हुए हैं मेजर ऑथर्स के द्वारा, जो भी मेजर लाइक ऑक्सफोर्ड मूवमेंट, प्री रैफेलाइट मूवमेंट्स, एंड देयर आर मेनी मोर मूवमेंट्स देयर इन इंग्लिश लिटरेचर. तो ये सारे इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्ट्स आपको जानना जरूरी है आपके एग्जाम में. आपसे टू द पॉइंट क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगे. डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस विल बी आस्क्ड टू यू फ्रॉम द मेजर वर्क, मेजर लिटरेरी मूवमेंट्स and also from major authors of English literature, and also particularly from the different periods like Augustan, Victorian, Romantic, Modern, Postmodern, and before that Renaissance, Age of Milton, Commonwealth period. And आपने पढ़ा होगा, आप आई नो, आई होप स्टूडेंट, आप सबको सारे जो भी मैंने बैच में, पेड बैच में पढ़ाया है, जितने भी लिटरेरी इवेंट्स, जितने भी लिटरेरी मूवमेंट्स, जितने भी हिस्टोरिकल लैंडस्केप, लिटरेरी लैंडस्केप, जो भी जिस भी पर्टिकुलर पीरियड का जो भी पर्टिकुलर इसेंस रहा है, आप सबको याद होगा. तो ये पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन भी रेनासा एज का पर्टिकुलरली इसेंस पूछ रहा है कि व्हाट्स देयर. इन द फर्स्ट ऑप्शन इट इज देयर, हाउ डज ह्यूमैनिज्म इन्फ्लुएंस इंडिविजुअल आइडेंटिटी एंड सोसाइटल स्ट्रक्चर. Second option is, what role does fate play in shaping human destiny? How does religious doctrine impact artistic expression? And the last option is that, what are the consequences of industrialization on the human psyche? आपने रेनासा पीरियड पढ़ा होगा, बहुत सारे मेजर टेक्स्ट पढ़े होंगे. I want answers from you guys. What should be the correct answer of this particular question? Arpita is saying, first of all, very good evening to all of you. All my dear students, very good evening. Students are saying answer C, that how does religious doctrine impact artistic expression? But student, your answer should be, the correct answer should be C lag raha hai ma'am, Arpita is saying, and many students are saying, but the correct option is option A, that is, how does humanism influence individual identity and societal structure? In the plays of William Shakespeare, you have, if you have gone through, if you have studied, like so many things, so many elements like individuality, and also how the society of that particular period in England, in the reign of Queen Elizabeth had shaped, he has discussed throughout his plays, throughout his sonnets, right? So the first option is correct regarding this question, and the second option, if you are pointing out that why option B, option C and option D won't be there, so student, fate play, that first of all fate is not there, fate is not an important element in a play which were produced in Elizabethan period or Renaissance period mainly. So I hope student you got this question. Like option first is correct, that how humanism influence the individual identity or a personality of an individual, a personal entity, okay, and how it produced, it converts into societal structure of the that time period, that particular time period. So the option A is correct. Moving to the another question on your screen, it is from Romantic is one of the most important period of English literature, and most of the questions will be asked from Romantic period, Victorian period, Modern period and Postmodern period. All these periods are very important in English literature, student. Questions, if you have gone through PYQs, you have realized that most of the questions from most of the questions from English literature will be asked from these periods only. जो ट्रेंड है इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के एग्जाम का, वो मेनली जो 2-3 साल का आप रेशियो देखोगे क्वेश्चन का, वो मेनली मॉडर्न लिटरेचर एंड पोस्ट मॉडर्न लिटरेचर से पूछा जा रहा है. सो द सेकेंड क्वेश्चन ऑन योर स्क्रीन इज the primary concern of romantic era English literature can be summarized as. I know student, it's very easy question, you can answer it, you know the major characteristics of this particular period, that is of romantic period. The first option, how does nature inspire creativity and self-reflection? What are the effects of colonialism and indigenous cultures? Yes, definitely it won't be there, this option. You might think that yes, students are replying me. I'm very happy to see all these comments, student, that students are replying yes, it's A. Very happy students, Sharika, Dule, Nikita, R, Arpita, Godfrey, Ram Babu and everybody. How do advancements, the third option is, how do advancements in science alter human understanding? It's also not there in romantic period. The last option is, what are the implications of social stratification on individual agency? Yes, student, you are correct, you are right at your place. The option A is correct, that how does nature inspire creativity and self-reflection. Okay, this option is correct, student. So option A, that elaborates the characteristic of romantic period. Romantic period in which you have studied, you have I know you have knowledge about the major works, major important literary movements, like you have seen major personality like William Wordsworth, who has produced many works, masterpieces in English literature. There are also another writers of this particular period, the major writers like Samuel Taylor Coleridge, P.B. Shelley, John Keats, and there are many more authors. I hope you all have remembered all those important works written by these particular writers, these influential writers of the age. So if the question will be asked tomorrow to you that what's the characteristic of romantic period, remember it's all about, it focuses that how does nature inspire creativity and self-reflection. Also, you might have knowledge about the difference between the writing of classical period, that is of Augustan period, neoclassical period, and the writing of romantic period. The major difference, the simple difference between romanticism and classicism is that classicism is all about the mind and romanticism is all about the heart. Okay, imagination is there in the writings of the romantic poets, but there's actually limitation, restrictions, norms and rules are there in Augustan period in the writings of classical writers or neoclassical writers. I know, student, I believe in you that you might have remembered all these facts, all these basic facts related to the period, related to the particular author, personality. So the third question on your screen is, it's related to, it's from Victorian period, another glorious period of English literature. That is, the question is asking that the central inquiry of Victorian era English literature revolves around. It's about Victorian period, student, and tomorrow questions will be asked from Victorian period. The option is there, that the first option is the tension between tradition and progress. Second option, the struggle for independence from colonial rule. Third option is the search for spiritual enlightenment. The last option is the examination of human consciousness and perception. What would be the correct answer, student? Yes, the central inquiry of Victorian era revolves around. I know many students are saying it's A, B, C. So students, tell me the correct option. What are you thinking, that what Victorian ideologies revolve around? Yes, definitely it was all about the tension between tradition and progress, because there was no element of independence, colonialism, there was no element of colonialism, colonial themes, post-colonial themes in Victorian period. So definitely it would be the option first, that is the option A. Okay, in Victorian period you might have observed, you might have remembered all those major movements, major literary movements, also major authors like Matthew Arnold, Thomas Hardy, Charles Dickens, very important novelist who has produced wonderful works in English literature, in the history of novel in English literature. And there are many more poets like Alfred Tennyson, Robert Browning, who is prominently known for the dramatic monologue. So all these authors are there, you can find there in Victorian period. I hope you all have remembered all those major works. क्योंकि आपके एग्जाम में कल ये मेजर वर्क से ही क्वेश्चंस आएंगे। आपके एग्जाम में आपसे मेजर लिटरेरी मूवमेंट्स, मेजर ऑथर्स से मॉडरेट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे, इजी काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे। अगर आपके एग्जाम में, अगर कल के एग्जाम में आपसे बहुत इजी क्वेश्चन पूछे गए तो आपको इजी क्वेश्चन देखकर बिल्कुल नर्वस नहीं होना है या फिर कंफ्यूज नहीं होना है कि इतना इजी क्वेश्चन ये कैसे पूछा गया है। उस इजी क्वेश्चन को आप 110% खुद को अश्योर करो कि आप सही कर आओगे, ठीक है। देन यू विल गेट 4 marks in the exam and 1 mark matters in the exam. Everybody knows this fact, right? So the option A is correct here. Another question on your screen is that which question best represents the core theme of modernist era English literature, in English literature, right? As you might have observed, student, I have brought the questions from prominent periods, important periods from English literature. The questions which will be asked tomorrow in your exam, that the question is asking about that which question best represents the core theme of modernist era in English literature. Option A is how do cultural norms dictate individual behavior? What are the consequences of unchecked industrialization of the environment? Second is how do psychological traumas influence human relationship? What role does mythology play in shaping societal values? I hope you all have gone through the modern period very carefully. You all have read in depth. Even I have taught in paid batch in very depth all these periods like modern, postmodern and all those periods, whatever are there in English literature. So student, what would be the answer? I expect from you guys what would be the answer. Yes, student. Yes, Rishabh, and many students are saying it's A, it's B. Someone is saying like Babula and Rishabh, Godfrey, it's C. Vivek is saying, Sharika is saying it's B. Okay, students, let me tell you the option. In modern period, in modern century, all those writings you can find are associated with, are influenced from the elements like identity crisis, alienation. The theme of alienation is there. Also, you can find another themes like loneliness, fragmentation. The theme of fragmented elements are there in writings of modern period and postmodern period as well. And also in the writings of modern period and postmodern period, it has shown very carefully, very in great manner that how psychology roles to shape your ideology. So here in this option, the option C is correct, that how do psychological traumas influence human relationship. And this particular option you all have realized in your personal life, in your daily life, that how psychological things can influence us, how a trauma, psychological trauma can influence us, right? So option third is correct in the context of modernist era, modern period of English literature. Another question on your screen is from post-colonial era, student, that post-colonial era English literature primarily focus on, although post-colonial literature is not mentioned in your syllabus very directly, very clearly, but you can expect questions from postmodern literature. The question is the post-colonial era in English literature primarily focused on. The option is the effects of globalization on cultural identity, the exploration of human consciousness through a stream of consciousness narrative, the examination of class struggle, which you have seen very elaborate manner in Marxist criticism. I'm reading all these comments, student. Very happy to see that you all have enthusiasm, you all have the dedication, and yes, definitely you will crack this exam and you will get your dream university, student. I'm damn sure about this, because I have seen your courage to learn the things. I have seen your dedication towards learning of English literature and all those portions topic mentioned in your syllabus. Yes, I was talking about the option that the last option which is there, that the portrayal of supernatural elements in everyday life. Yes, student, what would be the correct option? Students are saying it's C. Many students are saying it's C, that post-colonial era of English literature primarily focus on the examination of class struggle in industrialized society. But student, let me make you clear that the option A is correct, because the effects of globalization that you have seen, the integration in many contexts on the level of globalization, on the level of global strains, okay? So the effects of globalization on cultural identity, this particular characteristic has been portrayed in post-colonial writings. If you have gone through major writings of course post-colonial period, you will be realizing that how globalization, even there are so many important characteristics apart from globalization, how globalization affects a cultural identity of a person, of an individual. Okay, so I hope this question is clear. You won't miss this question if this kind of question will be asked tomorrow in your exam. So the next question on your screen is, I hope students you are joining the session. The doubts, all the options, whatever I am teaching right now, whatever I am making you understand, all things are clear. Do you have any doubt? Do you want to ask anything regarding the question, student, regarding your exam? Okay, so you can ask me. Next question on your screen is, which theme dominated Victorian literature, reflecting the societal change of the era? Yes, it's again very easy question. Student, the first option, romantic love, class struggle, and also nature's beauty, the quest for adventure. What would be the answer? Students are saying it's C. Someone is saying A. Yes, what would be the answer, student? Of course, the option B is correct, that it's all about class struggle. As you have seen in Victorian period, there's conflict between region and you can say heart, okay? There's conflict between logic and imaginary thoughts, okay? Imaginary reality, imagination. So class struggle is one of the most important themes which are there in the writings of Victorian authors. The next question on your screen is, which of the following was Marlowe's first play? Student, you know Christopher Marlowe, who is one of the most influential personality from the school of University Wit. Why University Wit? Because the authors who are associated from University Wit, like Robert Greene, Thomas Lord, John Lilly, Christopher Marlowe, all these authors are associated from the university, either from Oxford or Cambridge. That is why all these authors are known as the school, that particular school, that is a University Wit. Okay, the question is very easy, and for so many times the question has been asked in previous exam, that which of the following is Marlowe's first play? Students are saying it's A, and I'm very happy, I really feel very blessed to see all these comments, student, that yes, Tamburlaine was the first play ever written by Christopher Marlowe. He has also produced another masterpieces in English literature in Elizabethan period, like Edward II, Dr. Faustus, Jew of Malta. All of you might have read the particular work by Christopher Marlowe, that is Dr. Faustus, in which you can find the ambition, courage, eagerness of a personality who is from Renaissance period, and most prominently who is from Elizabethan period. Okay, so Tamburlaine is the first play written by Christopher Marlowe. Okay, this question has been asked for so many times, student. If it will be asked tomorrow, please don't get confused. Remember, Apart from Tamburlaine, Christopher Marlowe has also produced a play like Edward II, Dr. Faustus and Jew of Malta, and also he is one of the most influential author of university wit. Another question on your screen is, which of the following poem by Tennyson, Alfred Lord Tennyson, very influential poets of Victorian period, is often considered as a sequel to another poem, another writing by Tennyson, poem. Okay, this question also has been asked for so many times in the exam. This is also very important question. It might be asked to you tomorrow. Yes, it's again very easy question. Students are saying that Ulysses and the Palace of Art, Ulysses and the Lotus Eater, Ulysses and the Lady of Shalott, Ulysses and the Locksley Hall. Students, one thing you can do here, you can keep in your mind all these major writings, all these major poems written by Alfred Lord Tennyson, one of the most important poets of Victorian period. Okay, and the sequel poem written by Tennyson is that Ulysses and the Lotus Eater. I'm able to see all these comments, student. Keep going. It's amazing, it's outstanding really that students are replying that the option B is correct option, that Ulysses and the Lotus Eater is the correct option in the question. Another poems you can remember, Ulysses is mainly regarded as the masterpiece written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. If you will be asked question in your exam that who is the author of the work Ulysses, don't get wrong in the examination, student. Alfred Lord Tennyson. Another important authors, another important poet of Victorian period, you have Robert Browning, who has also written outstanding works. Okay, so I hope this question is clear to you, the option is clear, and also you have you are able to remember all these major works by the particular author. Yes, another question, very important, literary movement. As you know, in your syllabus, literary movement also has mentioned. Okay, question will be asked from literary movements, from important literary movements in the exam tomorrow. So Oxford movement is known as, particularly known as what? The question is that Tractarian movement, the option, in option it has mentioned education movement, university movement, pre-Raphaelite movement. Remember also pre-Raphaelite movement is another important movement. Pre-Raphaelite movement से कौन से author associated हैं, ये authors के names भी आपको याद रखने हैं. ये आपके exam में मोस्ट प्रोबेबली आपसे पूछा जाएगा. प्री रेफलाइट्स ऑथर्स जितने भी हैं उनके मेजर वर्क्स कौन कौन से हैं और प्री रेफलाइट का मतलब क्या होता है, तो ये सारी चीजें भी आप देख लेना स्टूडेंट. Yes, the question is asking to you that Oxford movement is generally known as what? So students are answering that it's option A, someone are saying it's B. Let me tell you the correct option, it's A, that is Tractarian movement. Why? Because there are many tract of religious writings have been produced in this particular, during this particular movement that is known as Oxford movement. You might have heard the name, you might have studied Newman, okay, who is an influential personality associated with this particular movement. So Oxford movement is particularly known as Tractarian movement due to the religious tracts. Okay, I hope it's clear, student. Another question on your screen is that who defined poetry as criticism of life? And it's very important questions. आपके पहले एग्जाम में previous year questions, if you have gone through PYQs, you might have seen this particular question for so many times. It has been asked at, and yes, students are answering fast, and the options they are answering to me is definitely it's correct that poetry as criticism of life has been said by Matthew Arnold. Student, let me ask you the another question. In which work Matthew Arnold said that poetry is the criticism of life? Do you know this? I know you know. Please put in the comment box that in which work Arnold has said this particular notion that poetry is, yes, criticism criticism of life, in which work Matthew Arnold has said, yes student, of course it's B, that is criticism of life. He has given the notion, the particular statement in the work that is the study of poetry. Well done Vivek. In the study of poetry, the study of poetry is one of the most important work, critical work ever produced by Matthew Arnold. You must read that particular essay by Arnold. The another question on your screen, and this question also has been asked. One thing you can notice student, in this particular session I have brought all these questions which are repeatedly have been asked in previous year exams, either in NET exam, UGC NET exam, either in GATE exam, GATE in English literature, also SET exam, and CUET MA English entrances. Okay, before CUET, when different top central universities were conducting their separate entrance examination, all these questions have been asked at that point of time. So for tomorrow's exam also you can keep in your mind all these questions, that theater of the absurd, very important question. Theater of the absurd was a term coined by which author? Theater of the absurd का idea किसने दिया था? You might have, yes students are answering it. C. Yes student, Martin Esselin has coined this particular term, that is the theater of absurd, in the work of the same title, that is the theater of the absurd. Can you name another influential author who is associated with this particular school of drama that is known as theater of absurd? I know student, you might have gone through the works written by Samuel Beckett, and the most influential work, the most important work, that is the Waiting for Godot, which is one of the amazing example of the writings of theater of absurd, okay, written by Samuel Beckett. Remember, always theater of absurd, this particular term coined by Martin Esselin in the work of the same title, that is theater of absurd. Another question on your screen is that who is associated with epic theater? Another important question student, previously you have seen that theater of absurd or absurdist theater, that there's no meaning, there is an element of meaninglessness, okay. Their people are suffering from identity crisis, alienation effect, you can say, the element of fragmentations, right, the crisis of existential problem. All these themes have been deliberately discussed in the writings of the authors who are from theater of absurd, okay. Now the another question which is asking to you about epic theater, that which of the following author is associated with epic theater? The first option is Bertolt Brecht, Martin Esselin, A. Achard, Michel Foucault. Michel Foucault is also very influential critical author and theorist student, you must have gone through before going to the exam tomorrow. मिशेल फूको को आप पढ़ लेना, एडवर्ड सैड को पढ़ना, और जितने भी क्रिटिकल राइटर्स थियरिस्ट मैंने अपने बैच में आपको पढ़ाए हैं, इवन ड्यूरिंग द सेशन व्हाट आई हैव टेकन ऑन यूट्यूब आल्सो आई हैव मेंशन्ड. सो आप कल के एग्जाम के पहले ये सारी चीजें रिवाइज कर लेना, ठीक है. सुबह में अगर कोई स्टूडेंट जग जाता है या फिर अभी कोई स्टूडेंट जगा होगा, रात में अगर रिवीजन कर रहा होगा, आई नो कि थोड़ा हैक्टिक हो जाएगा, बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स सो गए होंगे, बट डोंट गेट नर्वस, प्लीज कीप काम. एग्जाम में एकदम फोड़ के आना है, जो भी पढ़ाया हुआ है, ठीक है, उससे बाहर का कुछ नहीं आएगा, जितना भी हम लोगों ने पढ़ा है ड्यूरिंग दिस सेशन, ओके, ड्यूरिंग दिस जर्नी. जितने भी टॉपिक्स हमने, जो भी आपके सिलेबस में मेंशन्ड है, जो भी हमने कवर किया है, उससे बाहर कुछ भी नहीं पूछा जाएगा. जितने भी लिटरेचर, जितने भी डिफरेंट एजेस ऑफ इंग्लिश लिटरेचर, ब्रिटिश लिटरेचर मेनली, एंड ऑल्सो इंडियन इंग्लिश लिटरेचर वी हैव स्टडीड, translation studies, comparative literature, literary terms, literary genres, also measure contemporary events, awards, literary theory and literary criticism. whatever we have studied इससे बाहर question नहीं आएगा student. आपको बस I hope I believe in you that you all have revised all those previous classes. ठीक है, सारे पॉइंट्स सारे थियरीज क्लियर हो गए होंगे और सब कुछ आपके माइंड में होगा, बशर्ते कल बहुत ही काम होके, बहुत ही लाइट फील करके, बहुत ही प्लीज्ड फील करके एग्जाम में जाना है और बहुत अच्छे से क्वेश्चंस को टैकल करना है. ठीक है, अगर इजी क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे आपसे तो आपको घबराना नहीं है कि अरे यार इतना इजी क्वेश्चन कैसे पूछ दिया एग्जाम में. ऐसा नहीं, आपसे ये एक्सपेक्ट किया जा रहा है कि आप उस इजी क्वेश्चन को गलत नहीं करो, बिकॉज 4 मार्क्स मैटर ऑब्वियसली, राइट. So yes, I was there here that the epic theater students are answering that it's option A, and yes, it's absolutely right that Bertolt Brecht, very influential author who is associated from the term epic theater, right. Another question on your screen is The Temple is a trilogy of lyric sequence by which author? The question is from Indian English literature, which we have covered in our paid batch in detailed manner. All those major works by all these major Indian English authors we have studied. Also diasporic literature also we have covered within the realm of Indian English literature or Indian writing in English. The question that is The Temple is a trilogy of a lyric sequence written by whom? Students are saying, a few students are saying it's A, few students are saying it's C. Yes, let me tell you students, of course it's B, that is Sarojini Naidu. You might have remembered that Sarojini Naidu has written this particular work, that is The Temple, that is a kind of trilogy, okay. Another question on your screen is इट्स फ्रॉम इंग्लिश लिटरेचर. आपको मुझे पता है आप सबने जितने भी इन्फ्लुएंशियल मेजर ऑथर्स हैं इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के, लाइक अनीता देसाई, अमिताभ घोष, खुशवंत सिन्हा, सलमान रुश्दी, आर.के. नारायण, मुल्कराज आनंद एंड राजा राव, एंड देयर आर सो मेनी ऑथर्स लाइक टैगोर, V.S. Naipaul. There are so many authors you all have covered in detailed manner. You all have remembered the major works. Another question, and it's very obvious questions from William Shakespeare, one of the greatest dramatists of English literature. Identify the work which is not written by William Shakespeare. Of course, students are saying that yes, it's B. A few students are saying it's D, A. So it's Titus Andronicus, Caesar and Cleopatra, Taming of the Shrew, Much Ado About Nothing. What would be the option? That which of the following work is not written by William Shakespeare? Yes, students, of course, the correct option is option B, that is Caesar and Cleopatra. Can you tell the name that who has written the work Caesar and Cleopatra? Yes. The work Caesar and Cleopatra has been written by which author? Can you tell the name, student? Yes, I'm waiting for your answer that who has written the work Caesar and Cleopatra. Obviously, William Shakespeare has written Titus Andronicus, Taming of the Shrew, Much Ado About Nothing. As you have seen, we have covered so many historical plays written by Shakespeare, romantic plays, also so many sonnets that mainly at around about 154 sonnets William Shakespeare has written. Yes, Vivek is saying it's G.B. Shaw, and it's correct option, student, George Bernard Shaw, who is also the author of the influential work, important work, that is of the Pygmalion, in which you can find the characters like Professor Higgins, Eliza, and Frederick, right? So Caesar and Cleopatra, the option B will be correct, that the particular work has not been written by William Shakespeare. This is the work written by George Bernard Shaw, one of the important playwright of modern period. Another question on your screen is from language. All the questions won't be asked from language, but I have given a sample here that if you will be asked, please don't get confused, and it's also very easy question, common question, that which among the following is not a characteristic of language, okay? Which one of the following is not a characteristic of characteristic feature of language. First of all, it has mentioned language is systematic, language is arbitrary, language is dynamic. All these options are correct regarding language. And student, of course, language is not instinctive. Okay, this particular option is wrong in the context of language, because कोई भी language आप सीखते हो, you can learn any language of the world by your hard labor, by your dedication. Although English literature हमारे इंडिया की हमारा लैंग्वेज नहीं है, we have acquired with hard labor, with dedication. Okay, so language is not instinctive at all. This option is incorrect in this context. I hope you got it, student. Another question: who formulated the term pragmatic maxim? Yes, I hope you will be answering correct. Who formulated the term pragmatic maxim? This question also has been asked in the exam, that who formulated the term pragmatic maxim? Yes, student. Students are saying it's B. Let me tell you the option. It's of course D. Remember this name, Charles Sanders Peirce has formulated this particular term, that is pragmatic maxim. And what does it mean? I have discussed in my class. Okay. Another question, that who wrote long prologues to his plays? Prologues, I know students, it's very basic element in literature. You might know this. Who wrote long prologue? Yes, I'm waiting for your answer, student. What would be the answer? Students are saying it's D. In your options, it has mentioned Ben Jonson, G.B. Shaw, Shakespeare and Sheridan. What would be the answer? Of course, it's George Bernard Shaw. The option B is correct, who has written long prologue to his plays. ये सारे क्वेश्चंस आपको गलत नहीं करना है, ऑल्दो मैं ये नहीं कह रही हूँ कि जो भी मैं इस सेशन में डिस्कस कर रही हूँ हूबहू आपके एग्जाम में सेम क्वेश्चंस आएगा. इट्स वेरी इलॉजिकल फैक्ट. बहुत सारे मेंटर्स, बहुत सारे टीचर्स, बहुत जगह आप ये पाएंगे कि सभी लोग ऐसे क्लेम करते हैं कि हूबहू क्वेश्चन आएगा. इट्स वेरी इलॉजिकल थिंग. बट हाँ, दिस लॉजिक की जो भी पढ़ाया जा रहा है, जिस भी टॉपिक से बेस्ट क्वेश्चंस आपसे पूछा जा रहा है, जिस भी सेशन में मैंने लाया है या फिर मैंने पढ़ाया है अभी तक, उससे रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछे जाएंगे, उससे बाहर नहीं पूछा जाएगा. तो मुझे पता है कि जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स रहे हैं या जितने भी स्टूडेंट्स हैं इंग्लिश लिटरेचर के, सारे पोर्शन, सारे टॉपिक्स बहुत ही थॉरली कवर किया होगा और सारे फैक्ट्स याद होंगे आपको. So G.B. Shaw is the correct option. Another question which we are moving, that is from literary theory, and the term, very important term, very famous term, that is of gynocriticism means. What does it mean when you say gynocriticism? In your option, it has mentioned criticism of women, feminist criticism, criticism about norms, criticism of matrimony. Yes, student. Yes, of course, it's B. Kanchan, Sharika, Richa, Vivek, Richa, Julie, Anurag. Everyone is saying it's B. Of course, student, gynocriticism का मतलब होता है कोई भी टेक्स्ट जो विमेन क्रिटिक्स के द्वारा लिखा जाता है, फेमिनिस्ट राइटर्स के द्वारा लिखा जाता है, एंड जिसमें फेमिनिस्ट आइडियोलॉजीज की, फेमिनिस्ट यू कैन से द डेवलपमेंट अबाउट द विमेन्स राइटिंग की बातें कही जाए, दैट इज रिलेटेड टू द फेमिनिस्ट क्रिटिसिज्म. सो ऑप्शन बी इज द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. अनदर क्वेश्चन, दैट इज अ फोर्टिनर इज अ लाइन ऑफ. आपने ऑक्टा आयम्बिक पेंटामीटर सुना होगा, आपने ऑक्टोसिलेबिक सुना होगा, हेक्सामीटर सुना होगा, अलेक्जेंड्राइन कपलेट सुना होगा आपने, एंड देयर आर सो मेनी लाइन्स व्हिच वी हैव स्टडीड थ्रू आउट द लिटरेचर. अ फोर्टिनर इज अ लाइन ऑफ. ऑप्शन ए आयम्बिक पेंटामीटर, obviously it won't be there. A decasyllabic line, an octosyllabic line, an iambic heptameter line. Yes, student, what would be the answer? Yes, what would be the answer? What would be the correct option, student? A fourteener line is about, I hope you are getting my point, that a fourteener is a line of. Of course, it's about an iambic heptameter line. Okay, it won't be associated with iambic pentameter, decasyllabic or octosyllabic, right? Another question on the screen is from Ruskin, that which figurative term, which prominent term, important term given by Ruskin bond in English literature. In your options, it has mentioned intentional fallacy, affective fallacy, pathetic fallacy, apathetic fallacy. Yes, it's again very easy question, student, and this particular question has been asked for so many times in the exam. I hope you will be correcting if it will be asked tomorrow in your exam. क्या होगा आप बताइए, रस्किन बॉन्ड ने कौन सा टर्म दिया था? Important. Students are saying it's C. Some students are saying it's A. How is possible A, student? Yes, ये तो बहुत इजी क्वेश्चन है यार, ये बहुत एग्जाम में बहुत बार पूछा भी गया है कि नहीं? और मैंने इसको डिटेल में भी पढ़ाया है क्लास में. तो स्टूडेंट्स आर सेइंग, मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स आर सेइंग ऑप्शन सी. कंचन इज सेइंग ए. ये कैसे होगा बच्चा? ए कैसे होगा? इंटेंशनल फैलेसी, अफेक्टिव फैलेसी एंड इंटेंशनल फैलेसी, अनदर टर्म्स in literary theory, in the field of literary theory and criticism. किसको पता है? Any one of you can tell me who has developed this particular notion of intentional fallacy and affective fallacy? This particular question also has been asked in your exam, student. So yes, for this question, option C is correct, that Ruskin bond has formulated the figurative term that is pathetic fallacy. Okay? और मैं आपके आंसर का वेट कर रही हूँ कि ये पर्टिकुलर नोशन ऑफ इंटेंशनल फैलेसी और अफेक्टिव फैलेसी का किसने दिया था. Still I am waiting for your answer. So another question on your screen is, who is considered to be the first of the women novelist? वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन. ये क्वेश्चन भी बहुत बार पूछा गया है और हमको पता है, मुझे पता है डैट यू ऑल हैव रिमेम्बर्ड दिस. हु इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द फर्स्ट ऑफ द वुमेन नॉवेलिस्ट? पहली वुमेन नॉवेलिस्ट कौन थी? फ्रांसिस बर्नेस, जॉर्ज इलियट, एफ्रा बेन, जेन ऑस्टिन. स्टूडेंट्स, वन मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड दैट आपके एग्जाम में कल आपसे पेन नेम भी पूछा जाएगा. तो can you tell me the pen name of George Eliot, Mary Ann Evans, and the pen name of another writers like Jonathan Swift? You know, Swift has written by various pen names. Yes, student, it's Afra Bain. Yes, Julie and Sharika has answered correctly that Wimsatt and Botzele has developed the notion of affective fallacy and intentional fallacy, right? It's a kind of error. Affective means कौन सी राइटिंग को जो आप पढ़ रहे हो वो आपको अफेक्ट कर रहा है. इंटेंशनल फैलेसी मीन्स इंटेंशनली अफेक्ट कर रहा है. दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ फैलेसी. ओके, दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ एरर. Yes, so Afra Bain is the correct option, and students are saying that I have already mentioned that you have to keep in your mind the pen names of the major authors. This kind of questions also has been asked to you. Okay, another question on your screen is that which of the following is not a characteristic of Augustan period, classical period in English literature? Do you know, student, Alexander Pope, Jonathan Swift, all these are influential authors. Before that you have seen Age of Restoration, in which you have seen Max Flecknoe by the author John Dryden. Okay, all these influential authors will be asked to you. Okay, all questions means most of the questions will be asked to you tomorrow from these influential authors. So tell me, which of the following is not a characteristic? One more thing you can notice here कि आपके एग्जाम में कल आपसे अगर क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा, क्वेश्चन में आप केयरफुली ये नोटिस करना कि आपसे क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहा है। बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि स्टूडेंट्स एक्साइटेड होकर इजी क्वेश्चन देखकर गलत ऑप्शन को चूज कर लेते हैं। जैसे कि यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन में मेंशन है नॉट अ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक, मतलब कि इनमें से कौन सा ऑगस्टन पीरियड का, क्लासिकल पीरियड का कैरेक्टरिस्टिक नहीं है, ठीक है। लेकिन क्वेश्चन एक्साइटेड होकर अरे ये तो बहुत इजी क्वेश्चन है, ये तो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक पूछ रहा है ऑगस्टन पीरियड का, वो कैरेक्टरिस्टिक जो भी है वो टिक कर लेते हैं। तो क्वेश्चन को कल बहुत ही ध्यान से पढ़िएगा मेरे बच्चे और सही कीजिएगा, क्योंकि आपके एग्जाम में क्वेश्चंस इजी ही पूछे जाएंगे आपसे। तो अगेन इट्स वेरी इजी क्वेश्चन, स्टूडेंट्स आर रिप्लाइंग दैट इट्स सी ए बी। ओके, the last option, that is the exploration of dark and gothic themes, is not an important characteristic of this particular period, that is commonly known as Augustan period or classical period. You have realized, you have seen that in this particular period there's actually you can find the theme of that rules, regulations. Also there's elaboration, discussion of logic, reasoned, balanced themes, particular subject matters. So in the first option it has mentioned that yes, Augustan period's writing influences, emphasis on reason and logic. It's true. It's also admiration for classical forms, for ideals, and classical forms and ideas that they have copied from classical authors. The authors of classical period have copied from the classical writers. And the third option is also correct in this context, that focus on satire and political commentary. Yes, writing of satire was one of the most important genre, that the writing satire in this particular period, in Augustan period. The option 4, that is the exploration of dark and gothic themes, are not there. So option 4 is the correct, that this particular option is not the characteristic of Augustan period. I hope students you all are getting this. Another question on your screen is, who is often considered the leading poet of Augustan is? Everybody knows this. It's again very easy question, that who is often considered the leading poets of Augustan period, who has written the work like an essay on man and the rape of the log, in which Belinda is the heroine, Belinda is the protagonist. Okay, yes, who is the influential author? Of course student, I know you are very genius. Option B is correct, that is Alexander Pope. I really feel very glad to see all these comments कि एग्जाम के एक दिन पहले भी मेरे स्टूडेंट्स के अंदर इतनी डेडिकेशन है, इतना करेज है, इतनी इंथुजियाज्म है कि वो अभी भी सेशन अटेंड कर रहे हैं, एंड दे आर स्टिल वेरी क्यूरियस टू लर्न द न्यू थिंग्स. Okay, they are very curious to learn how to tackle the questions in the exam. It's kind of goosebumps for me. Okay, आपके comments, आपकी presence मुझे inspire कर रहा है कि मैं आपको और बताऊं. Anyway, let's move to the another question, that is, which satirical novel by Jonathan Swift, very important satirist of in English literature student, which satirical novel by Jonathan Swift critiques human nature and society through the use of allegory? Yes, again it's very easy question student. What would be the answer? Tell me. Again very easy question. Jonathan Swift, who is particularly known for his satirical novel, that is the Gulliver's Travels, which is allegorical in nature. Allegorical का मतलब क्या होता है कि referential theme होता है. There are some hidden meanings in the work. It can be moral, it can be societal, it can be of any kind of theme. Okay, there are some hidden meanings in the novel. So option D is correct, that Gulliver's Travels, in which there are so many journeys has been traveled by Gulliver. Okay, this particular work is a kind of allegorical satirical work by Jonathan Swift. And the last question of this session on your screen is, what is the genre of Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe? This particular question also has been asked for so many times in the exam, student. Even direct question has been asked in the exam, that who is the author of the work Robinson Crusoe, which recounts the adventures of the a kind of sailor, that is Ashperic sailor. That what's the genre of this particular work? That is Robinson Crusoe. Students are replying it's B, A, Picaresque. Yes, student, tell me the option: epic poem, gothic novel, pastoral romance, picaresque novel. क्या होगा option? Yes, student. Most of you are answering option D, and my dear students, it's absolutely correct option. Option D is the correct, that is the picaresque novel. Okay, option D is picaresque novel. That picaresque novel is Daniel Defoe's this particular masterpiece, Robinson Crusoe, is an example of picaresque novel. With this note, I am ending this session, student. Please keep calm. जितना भी मैंने पढ़ाया है, जितना भी आपने पढ़ा है, जितनी भी enthusiasm आपने दिखाई है throughout the journey, आपको निराश नहीं होना है, हताश नहीं होना है, और हमेशा एक बात याद रखनी है कि failure is also a kind of success. आप जितनी बार गिरते हो और गिर कर उठते हो, उसमें जो मजा होता है ना, लाइफ के किसी चीज में मजा नहीं होता है. Ultimately you have to remember this fact that this is the part of your life. Okay, it's this particular exam is not your life, it's actually a part of your life. So I'm wishing you all the best to all of you on behalf of CUET concept. कल जाइए अपने एग्जाम में बहुत अच्छा जोरदार प्रदर्शन कीजिए, फोड़ के आइए. जितना फोड़ के आइए कहने का मतलब कि जितने भी क्वेश्चंस आपको लगेंगे कि इजी है, मॉडरेट है, टफ है, पहले तो पहली स्ट्रेटेजी आपकी होनी चाहिए कि जो आपको क्वेश्चंस टफ लगेंगे उसमें आपको हताश नहीं होना, नर्वस फील नहीं करना है कि अरे इसके ऑप्शंस तो मुझे पता ही नहीं है. ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए. जो भी क्वेश्चंस, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इन फर्स्ट गो आपको ये फाइंड आउट करना है कि कौन कौन से क्वेश्चंस आपको इजी लग रहे हैं, कौन कौन से क्वेश्चन के डेफिनेटली आंसर आप डैम श्योर हो कि हाँ इसके आंसर आप जानते हो. उसको पहले आपको आंसर करना है. उसके बाद आपको देखना है कि किस क्वेश्चन में आप रिस्क ले सकते हो. All the students, I am repeatedly saying this thing that easy to moderate kind of questions will be asked to you for tomorrow in tomorrow's exam. So don't get nervous, keep calm, have patience. सब कुछ अच्छा होगा, all will be good, and I wish you that all of you get your dream university. जिसका भी जो भी सपना होगा, जिस भी यूनिवर्सिटी में मास्टर्स करने का आप सभी को मिले. CUET कॉन्सेप्ट की तरफ से आप सभी को ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं एंड ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट टू ऑल ऑफ यू स्टूडेंट. आई होप you enjoyed this session. You might have learned the things whatever I have discussed in tomorrow's exam. Okay, so with this note I am ending this session, this particular session that we have brought for all of you. आपको हारना नहीं है, अच्छे से एग्जाम देना है. Yes, and thank you very much for supporting me, students, that I'm able to see all these names, the students who are there in my paid batch like Anurag, Kanchan, Sharika, Rishabh, Jayant, Kanchan, Vivek, Nisha. All these students are there in my paid batch and they have attended all those classes what I have taught. I hope student, I believe in you that you all have remembered all those facts. Okay, so again all the very best to all of you.
थैंक यू मैम आपको. तो जितने भी स्टूडेंट हैं आप सभी से एक ही निवेदन है कि अभी तक आपने क्या किया कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. अब आपका जो एग्जाम का टाइम है 1 घंटा 45 मिनट का, उसमें अगर आप अपना बेस्ट दे दिए तो आपका सिलेक्शन तय है. और मैं विश्वास दिलाता हूँ आपको कि पिछले वर्ष सिमरन मैम ही यहाँ पढ़ाई थी और सिमरन मैम से पढ़ाए गए बहुत सारे ऐसे स्टूडेंट हैं जिन्होंने 400 में 272 स्कोर किया, 280 स्कोर किया 250 किया, 240 किया। बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट ने BHU में एडमिशन लिया, DU में लिया, JNU में तो नहीं हो पाया। ये बात मैं इसीलिए कह रहा हूँ कि जो सही है जो सही है, तो JNU में नहीं हो पाया। लेकिन इस बार मुझे पूरा उम्मीद है, क्योंकि मैम ने पिछले वर्ष से ज्यादा क्लास ली है इस वर्ष, इसीलिए मुझे ज्यादा उम्मीद है कि इस वर्ष आप लोग में से कोई ना कोई जरूर JNU पहुंचोगे। और जो हम लोग का भी सपना है कि हमारे स्टूडेंट JNU में पढ़े, वो सपना आप लोग साकार करोगे। आप लोगों ने कड़ी मेहनत किया है, बहुत सारी कड़ी मेहनत ने किया है, बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट ने किया है।
लुकिंग ऑल दिस कमेंट्स की जो स्टूडेंट्स पहले से ज्वाइन किए थे, मतलब सारे लोग अभी, मतलब मैं इंथुजियाज्म देख रही हूँ कि एग्जाम के एक रात पहले का इंथुजियाज्म अभी भी ये
एक चीज और है कि आज मैं इन लोगों को बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा कि आप लोगों ने, मैं ये बात एक्सेप्ट करता हूँ कि थोड़ा सा हम लोगों की ओर से कंटिन्यू नहीं रहा, लेकिन मैं आज इन लोगों ने कमेंट में नहीं लिखा ये बात।
और हाँ, दूसरी बात कि ये हमारे बच्चे जो भी हैं, हमारे स्टूडेंट्स जो भी हैं, वो हमारी स्ट्रेंथ है। यू गाइज आर आवर इंस्पिरेशन, यू गाइज मेक अस टू लर्न द थिंग। ठीक है, अगर आप ही नहीं रहोगे तो हम पढ़ाएंगे किसको? तो आपकी लाइफ के लिए, आपकी जर्नी के लिए, आपके फ्यूचर के लिए आपको बहुत 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 शुभकामनाएं CUET कॉन्सेप्ट की तरफ से। आप हमेशा खुश रहें, स्वस्थ रहें और लाइफ में बहुत अच्छा करें। ऑल द बेस्ट स्टूडेंट। थैंक यू।
और आपने सही से पढ़ा है, मैम ने जितना भी पढ़ाई है और आपने सही से पढ़ा है, तो आप लोगों को परेशान नहीं होना है। सवाल आसपास ही रहेंगे, जो टॉपिक पढ़ाए गए उसी के आसपास रहेंगे। कल आप बताओगे भी, कल एग्जाम दे के आओगे। हाँ। तो कल हम लोग का भी एग्जाम है कि हम लोगों ने कितना मेहनत किया आपके ऊपर और आप लोगों ने कितना मेहनत किया खुद के ऊपर। दोनों का एग्जाम
सिर्फ आपका नहीं है, इम्तिहान हमारा भी है कि हमने अपनी मेहनत कितनी दिखाई है, हमने अपनी नॉलेज आपको कितना ट्रांसफर किया है। और सबसे द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग कि आप कितने अच्छे से परफॉर्म करते हो एग्जाम में, that matters ultimately। ठीक है,
ज्योग्राफी का एग्जाम हुआ बच्चों, मैं बता दूं कि आपने देखा होगा जितने भी पेड कोर्स में जुड़े हुए थे उससे पहले बहुत परेशान थे। एग्जाम दे के आए, उन्होंने कहा कि मैम ने कई सारे ऐसे सवाल कराए क्लास में जो हूबहू आया है। तो यहाँ जितने भी फैकल्टी मेंबर है, आपको विश्वास करना पड़ेगा। अब कहीं भी कोर्स ज्वाइन करते हो तो आपको विश्वास करना होगा, जितना यहाँ से पढ़ाया गया उस कंटेंट पे आप विश्वास करो, बार बार पढ़ो और आपको पर्याप्त टाइम मिला है। MA का टेस्ट सीरीज भी सबसे पहले चला गया, मॉक भी चला गया, और जो 10 मॉक गया है लास्ट में वो बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। देखेंगे कई ऐसे सवाल मुझे लगता है कि आपके एग्जाम में भी हूबहू मिलने की संभावना है। तो खैर, अब हम लोग मिलते हैं, आप सभी से मिलेंगे ही, क्योंकि मुलाकात तो होती रहेगी आपके रिजल्ट के बाद, लेकिन आपका एग्जाम के बाद मिलेंगे। उसके बाद आंसर की NTA देखिए, आंसर की देगा, 1-2 सवाल इरर करेगा ही मैम, और पैसे भी लेगा। पैसे भी लेगा, लेकिन आप वहां बोल नहीं सकते हैं कुछ। और मॉक में एक सवाल इरर हो जाता है, कई कॉल आते हैं, अरे सर गलती कर दिए। NTA भी करेगा, करता ही है 2-3 सवाल। खैर, फिर आंसर की चैलेंज कैसे करना है वो भी मैं बताऊंगा। जैसे आपका सपना BHU में, DU में, JNU में पढ़ने का है, तो सभी यूनिवर्सिटी का अपना अपना एडमिशन प्रोसेस है, काउंसलिंग की प्रक्रिया है, वो कैसे होगी, कौन कौन डॉक्यूमेंट्स की आवश्यकता है, उन सभी के बारे में अपडेट तो मिलते रहेगा CUET कॉन्सेप्ट के साथ। और हम आपके साथ हमेशा रहेंगे, क्योंकि आप है तो हम है। मिलेंगे नेक्स्ट वीडियो में। आप सभी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बेस्ट ऑफ लक हमारी ओर से।
ऑल द बेस्ट स्टूडेंट्स, बाय बाय।